We're live! Halloween candy. Jesus. I didn't time that out right at all.
You like shoved a bunch of licorice
right when we start. Damn it.
Yep. Yep.
Let me get through it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Comic Book Day here on Hyper RPG. How are you guys doing? It's Wednesday, and you're like face deep into Walking Dead.
Oh, I'm almost done. I only have 2 pages left.
I am 20 issues behind.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually really like it. The whole whispers thing.
Oh no. You're gonna have to catch me up. We'll do a spoiler section at the end.
Oh, okay.
And you can catch me up.
I don't feel like I'm qualified to catch you up.
You could just tell me what the spoilers crap is. I don't even know. Or the whispers.
Oh, yeah. It's like, okay, yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what you're talking about. So
yeah.
So we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Guys,
I missed a couple of issues, but I do know who the whisperers are.
Ooh, yeah, I have no idea. I'm totally in the darkness.
20 issues. How? So
Yeah.
where did you stop?
I'm trying to remember.
20 issues.
The reason I stopped it because there was like 5 issues there where I was just kind of like, I got into this rhythm. I was like, I don't really care anymore. And then I heard from a couple people it got really good again.
Yeah.
And I'm missing out.
Yeah.
So I need to get back into it.
It's weird. So like with Walking Dead, I actually prefer it so much more as a graphic novel. And it's weird because I say that about the TV show too, because I do enjoy the TV show. I know a lot of people hate it, but I like it. And it's weird because I didn't like it, and I still don't like it when it comes out episode by episode, but when I binge watch a whole season, I'm like, this is actually pretty good. It's almost like they paced it. The pacing is like so shitty for a weekly show, but so good for a Netflix show.
To binge watch?
It's great to binge watch.
I stopped watching after season 1. Episode 6 of season 1 kind of made me like, it's not for me.
Or
Love the
like-
comic.
Yeah, no, I like the comic a little bit more too. My favorite is actually the games.
Dude, those games though.
And we've got season 3 of The Walking Dead Telltale game coming out this fall, very soon here. I think it's in November, right? Or is it December? It's either early December or late November.
It's December, but I can't say how I
Oh, really?
Secret.
Oh, what?
Secret.
And now our little shell is all grown up. Which is like kind of sad, but kind of awesome.
I really like that game. So I've been waiting for Batman Telltale to finish so I can play it in one go, and I might do that over Christmas break.
Yeah.
Like, and I like how I say Christmas break like I'm still in school, but we will have a Christmas break here at Hyper RPG. I guess I should tell you now. Might as well. I'm giving the crew 7 days off from like December 24th to January 2nd. I will stream in that time a lot as myself, but everyone else should go home and actually see their families and not work 16-hour days, like 6 days a week.
I can come by and help too.
Yeah, I'll just be.
You know, the whole like
no take backsies. I'm not gonna take it back, right? I promise. You can go home. I promise. Emily was like, I live here and I'm Jewish, so whatever.
yeah. I'm not Christian. I don't follow
I don't really.
So.
Yeah.
I don't really
Malika really wants
my family either, so it's like I don't use it for that either.
Yeah.
So.
Malika really wants me to go to Florida. I'm like, oh, that costs money. I should go. It costs money. All right, guys, let's talk about comic books. Today is an interesting day. A couple books came out that I'm really excited about. Like, holy shit, it's back! It's back!
Southern Bastard.
It's back! It's my favorite.
What was I excited about? Did you read the communist comic? Mayday?
What? No.
It was actually pretty cool.
Let me see that.
There is like
I don't get so many
a
in my
drug-induced orgy thing in there too. That was kind of cool.
Wait, just tell me what page.
There you go.
There we go.
You don't even have to look for it.
Don't even have to look. It's definitely, not going to show you what it looks like on camera.
Yeah, I'll usually get banned for that.
Yep, can't show you.
It's like turns into a bad trip. It's kind of cool though. I actually really like the comic. It's like a classic like Cold War era, like there's this like a defector from the Soviet Union, and it's actually kind of cool. We'll talk about it more when we do like our comic talk.
Yeah, it's interesting because just the way this looks reminds me of this weird Russian film that I watched at a like indie film festival like 2 years ago that was about this guy. It was like half musical, half weird, like coming to terms with being broke in communist Russia, and the colors are very similar, and it's just super trippy. Reminds me a lot of that. And there was like this whole like desert scene. Interesting. Very familiar feeling while looking at this, and lots of nighttime driving shots. Very interesting. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm intrigued for sure. I usually don't know if I'm gonna like a comic or not until the third, unless it's like a very specific Like, there's certain Image comics that have been sold from issue 1, but then like comics like Mayday, I had to like I kind of needed to give it until the 3rd issue. Like Black Monday Murders, I knew I liked from the 1st issue. Snot Girl, I knew I liked from the 1st issue. But some I have to wait until like the 3rd to be like, no, this isn't for me, or yes, this is for me. So almost like with Image comics, I almost always read the first 3.
I need to get back on that train. I've been so wrapped up in making sure I'm caught up on Valiant and my couple Image pulls that I'm missing a lot.
I actually read Faith today. I've been reading Faith lately. It's kind of weird.
We should definitely talk about that one today.
I love Eclipse. It's like basically my favorite.
I want to hear what you think about that one because I like what I've read so far.
I really like this one.
You guys should tell us in the chat room what you're reading this week, what you're excited to pick up, and if there's anything you want us to talk about today that you might be curious about, any books on the shelves that you might want to check into. And we're going to get into it in a little bit. I do want to let you guys know that it's going to be a little bit shorter today than the last couple weeks because we're going to be cutting to watching paint dry at 3 for a special Bob Ross episode of the show. It's going to be Malika and Viking Lass wearing Bob Ross wigs and painting Bob Ross style paintings. We'll see how that goes.
That's awesome.
So that's going to be at 3 p.m. So we are going to get into the books today and dive into this wonderful, wonderful world of comics. And as usual, every 5 subscribers we give away a Steam key. Every 50 followers we give away a Steam key too. And I think we've already gotten like 30 today. So we're only 20 followers away from a Steam key giveaway, which is awesome. Getting followers when we're offline is always exciting.
We'll definitely hit it during Bob Ross.
19 out of 50.
Only 19 out of 50? Oh, we didn't hit reset until later in the day.
Oh.
So it missed a lot of the ones that came in this morning.
Talk about the newest member of the Green Lantern Corps.
Wait, what?
No, it's a joke. For Halloween, I made like a miniature comic postcard that I'm sending out as a giveaway of my hedgehog, like my actual pet hedgehog and Green Lantern cape.
So it's a new member, huh?
She's a new member.
Which universe from? Like, aren't there like? Did you come up with like a whole backstory and
a whole planet or whatever? No, I like to think that she's one of the Green Lanterns of Earth. I'd like to think that she's replaced Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz because I don't really like their run in the Green Lanterns. So I'm just gonna assume that's what she does.
We're getting some wonderful recommendations from the chat room here about the stuff they picked up today. You said you really loved Champions #2.
I loved it. That's my pick of the week.
I really loved Unworthy Thor #1. It was really great. I didn't get a chance to read Occupy Avengers. I wanted to. Did you get a chance to check that one out?
I am like really biased against like 2 Avengers, and that's Thor and Hawkeye. I don't like their comics most of the time.
Really?
I don't like Hawkeye and I don't like Thor. And at first I thought it was Hawkeye's power set, and then I realized Thor's pretty powerful and I don't like Thor.
Did you ever check out Hawkeye, the book? Like, well, Matt Fraction's run.
Oh, is that the one with the
Excuse me. I'm gonna find it. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna find it really quick. Okay. I could have swore it was in one of these runs here.
I just read Doctor Strange spin-off, Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme. I actually love both of the Doctor Strange comics. So I'm with you on that one. I'm a big fan of it.
These used to be in alphabetical order. I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah. There was a time
Mine are not.
when they were in alphabetical order.
Mine are not in alphabetical order.
Okay.
I am also like really anal about my comics though. So they're either not sorted or they're sorted perfectly.
Here's this. Okay, so I mean, just take a look through that book and see if you aren't like, I want to read Hawkeye now.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a try because I try to keep an open mind.
That book, that single issue won an Eisner.
That's why I didn't touch Unworthy Thor. Like even when it switched to like a female, like a female protagonist, because I know I'm not gonna like it.
Oh no!
Because I've just like tried Thor so many different times over the years, and I don't like it. Like it's weird because I love like the Loki standalone series that came out like a few weeks ago. I think there's like it's a mishmash of like, a big part of it was probably Odin's son, and I didn't like Odin's son, and he kind of felt like foolish and stupid at times, and that really bothers me because I always like really intelligent protagonists. And then like, I don't know, there was something about it, and at times it's like the whole royalty aspect of it, like they're gods and stuff, I'm just kind of like, So I always try to hesitate. I probably should try it, but I'm always like, I just feel like I'm like looking through a filter where I'm automatically not gonna like it.
I feel you on that.
Thor.
And I was.
Do you have a superhero like that?
I used to be Thor.
Oh, really? You
100%.
didn't like Thor? Okay.
I 100% used to not be able to stand anything with Thor in it until Jason Aaron started writing it.
Oh, well.
Because I was in a very similar boat where I was just like, I cannot stand the over-affected speech. I can't stand the bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it just always felt like it was trying too hard. And I'm not as big into fantasy as I am sci-fi.
Bomb Walk, thank you for the follow.
Yeah, thanks for that follow. I've just always been a bigger sci-fi fan than fantasy. But what I liked about old Jack Kirby Thor way back in the day was it felt more sci-fi than fantasy. He was always more about the world, like the just space, the space going on forever, and it had these great epic tales. And when Jason Aaron started writing Thor, I had a bunch of friends kept telling me like, you gotta check it out. It's so fucking epic. You have to check it out. It's the coolest like multi-tiered storyline. You've got to check it out. And they knew I was a Jason Aaron fan because I just got done reading the one on the Indian reservation, Scalped.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
I fucking loved Scalped, and I wouldn't shut up about it at the local comic store. So they kept trying to sell me on it, and I wouldn't do it, and I wouldn't do it. And then the first trade of God Killer came out, and I read it, and I was blown away because it was this cool. The art was beautiful. It was this multi-tiered, like past Thor, present Thor, and future Thor, and how all of their stories were coming together to tell one story. And I really, really liked it. But I'm gonna be totally honest, when the new Thor book came out with Jane Foster, I liked the first 10 issues, or so much. And then they rebooted again with Marvel Now, or whatever.
Oh, right.
And I kind of I started getting turned off by it again. It started getting a little bit, it felt not as tight as those first couple volumes. But this one today like brings me right back to why I'm like, oh, Jason Aaron Thor. I love it so much. It's so great. Because it's at the same time really silly and really epic all at once. Like I said, there's a line in here where he's like something about his goat, you know, and then having his goat attack Ulrich, the king of trolls.
Oh, the goat powered?
Yeah,
like
you know,
all
like
his transport has to be goat powered.
Yeah, there's a really good line in here, and that just makes me laugh out loud because it's just like that is Thor at its finest. It's just like so
cool
fucking
image.
stupid. It's like, since losing my hammer, I can no longer fly or traverse the realms except by goat power. But it's said in all seriousness. But it's awesome. Like, the art is really great. It's really epic, and it's filled like.
That is beautiful.
If anything, I could see you not liking Thor because he is a big baby. Like, he
Yeah.
lost his hammer, and he's kind of a baby about it, and he's not worthy, and he just sulks all the time and drinks booze, and but there's a cool like.
Loki says that too, though. Like Loki kind of makes fun of those aspects of Thor, and I think maybe that's why I like Loki.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Loki's really fun. I mean, the last couple of years of Loki have been really good. Everything that.
I wasn't a huge fan of Vote for Loki,
Yeah.
but I liked the run right before that. I didn't necessarily think that they needed to reboot him as like a character, but they also made fun of that. They're like, I think it was Tony Stark that's like, is this new Loki like a band member in One Direction? Because he just looked like so boy bandy, and I was like, okay, I get that Tom Hiddleston kind of made Loki like something that like, you know, girls like, but you didn't have to turn him into like a member of a boy band. But they totally make fun of it, so it worked.
I'm a big fan of when he just switches genders.
Oh,
constantly.
yes.
And that was happening a lot last year, where just, you know, now it's female Loki, and she has a much different way about her and persona, especially in A-Force.
Oh, yeah.
Secret Wars
I like
is
her in
really great.
A-Force. She's a little bit more of a badass, too.
Well, what else? I mean, we're gonna dive into all these even more. I checked out Full Killer #1. I didn't get a chance to read Avengers #1.
I liked Avengers #1. I love the art. It's freaking gorgeous.
Ooh, I do have.
Ooh, Moon Knight this week was
Oh
lit.
shit! Is that still being written by? No. Okay, so it's in
Lemire.
Lemire now. Yeah, that's right.
I love this, and it's so beautiful. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's so pretty. And it switches between so many different
Does he
styles.
finally get out of prison, or the mental institution?
We don't know.
I want him to resolve this. It's been so long.
It's not gonna happen, but it ends on a note that I think it's his 3 alter egos meeting him.
Okay. All right. Good. They're sticking with that.
So I think there's something is gonna happen next, because this one ends in such a way that I think next issue something's gonna happen. We might find out if he's left the asylum or what the heck. Because I still, basically, we'll talk about this more later. Actually,
Yeah.
I have a lot to say
You
about
think
Moon
the
Knight.
asylum is just a figment of his imagination? That's so much of.
And
like,
it's
the
kind
Moon
of
Knight
hinted
books.
at, and then
Yeah.
Death of X came out this week. Faith #5 came out this week. I read that.
The political issue, which wasn't really
I mean, it was.
It was, but it was it wasn't like a.
It was at the end of the actual comic.
Right, and it wasn't written by Jody Houser, and that's what I thought was going to be happening.
Which it was, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like
I have
just
thoughts
a
on that
piece.
too, but then again, it made news today, so.
Really? So it's going to sell books.
Yeah.
Which is good. Which is
good.
good.
I saw it like when I was googling like the comics list for this date.
Was
they
this
had a lot of.
Oh, cool.
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't realize that was in this because I had the press version.
Oh. Yeah, the Comic-Con.
Mhm. I was there. I filmed all that.
You're probably somewhere in there.
No, I stayed off that floor. I stayed off that fucking floor. I had a lot of equipment with me. I was off that floor. I wasn't fucking around with that.
He has a god in his head, maybe. He's crazy. That is Moon Knight
Right.
basically in a nutshell. Like, he has a god in his head, maybe. We don't know if he does or doesn't. Maybe he's just psycho. Like, we don't really know with Moon. I love Moon Knight for that reason, though. Moon Knight's one of my favorite comic books.
Mine too.
I'm
Did
a
you like the
huge
Warren Ellis
fan.
run? Those
Yeah, I
like
did.
6 or 8 issues?
Yes. Wait, is that the one from last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was pissed because they switched artists halfway through. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And it's weird because it was at the same time I was reading She-Hulk and they did that with She-Hulk. And I was like, can y'all just fucking
really
stop?
Felt it on She-Hulk.
It was bad.
It was bad.
I'm like one of those people that like, for me, art is like 70% of the comic. And I know that's stupid, but it is. So it's like, it was ruining it. It's like food that tastes good but smells bad.
Well, I agree with you. Like, if they changed artists on this book, it wouldn't be Southern Bastards anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
Yeah, just like if The Walking Dead was in color.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it wouldn't be The Walking Dead anymore.
Yeah, it's like such a distinct, I don't know.
I feel you. And sometimes I think some of our regular books that Marvel and DC are putting out, they unfortunately get under these deadlines where they have to change artists frequently.
Mm-hmm.
And when you set up a style that's so strong to a certain individual,
Yeah.
it really hurts the book when you switch. And She-Hulk had such a strong visual style.
It really did. And then halfway through it
felt it.
turned into like this faux 70s that just was not great. And even the way she was being drawn was different because she went from being like kind of buff to just straight up being like bulky. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was weird. She had like a square jaw and I didn't understand it. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. It's one thing if it's like that from the outset and it's done really well, like I really like Silver Surfer and I like the art for that and it's been consistent throughout. But She-Hulk started as something else and turned into like a bad version of the Silver Surfer 70s style and I was like, what the fuck just happened to
Yeah.
this book?
It got
I
weird.
still, like the story was kind of good too, but even the story was kind of rushed. But I
Well,
like
he
the
had to
whole
end it so
Captain
quick.
America
Yeah, that was cool.
story
That
and
was cool.
her facing off against Matt Murdock and
Oh man, remember when Captain America stood for something?
yeah. And I love seeing like old Captain America and how he still didn't compromise on his values. That was actually a really good comic run and we're getting her back, but it's not by the same people.
It's weird to talk about Marvel 2 years ago as if it was such a long time ago and it felt so different, but it did.
It did, yeah.
Like before this Secret Wars ended and everything kind of rebooted, they were putting out some of the best work they've ever put out. And
Yeah,
it's
a lot
weird.
of my best my favorite comics came from there.
Me
and as
too.
a huge X-Men fan, like we had so many good X-Men books, and now I do still read a lot of them, but I'm not impressed anymore, and it makes me really sad. Because I even like X-Force with Psylocke and Cable and
They're bringing
now
back a ton of them. Did you see that Instagram picture
Yes.
that Marvel put out of
Yes.
like, the 9 X books that are
yeah,
coming out?
yeah. They are putting out a ton of them, which is what I like. I like to have 9X books because some of them I don't end up liking.
I saw Fallout 2431 post in the chat room that unfortunately there's not a comic book store near him. Him or she, either or. I feel you. I grew up out in the middle of nowhere and there was no comic book in sight. When I was growing up, the only access I had to comic books was for a little bit. We had Walmart carrying these double packs, and we'd go to Walmart. Hey, thank you for that follow.
Tachyon.
Thank you for that. We'd go to Walmart like 30 miles away, and there was these double packs you would get. And there were almost always reprint issues from like 2 or 3 years before of X-Men books, almost always, some sort of X book, and it'd be 2 in a pack. And it was either that or me getting free ones at Pizza Hut back in the day. And that was about it.
Yeah.
I feel your pain. Luckily, we have things now like
I was gonna say,
Comixology
we have digital stuff now, which we didn't back
and Marvel
then.
Digital, and you can get most stuff between those services. I think Comixology's come a really long way in the last couple of years, especially.
Yeah.
You should check it out.
And with Comixology, you know, even if you do have a local store, maybe you can't get out there frequently, you can actually set it up to where your local store gets a percentage of your online book sales, so you're not starving out.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
You just tell them, you sign up through your local bookstore, and your local bookstore will get a percentage of the money that Comixology gets. And that's kind of like if you're, oh, I go to the store all the time, but I just want to switch to digital. That way you don't feel that guilt like you're starving out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, comic book stores are dying.
Yes.
People think they're not. Void Smoker, thank you so much for 9 months. Monkey Donut for 8 months.
Well, that's why you're going to go into any comic book store today, and it's primarily going to be a toy store.
It's Magic, too, a lot of the
Yeah,
time. Magic
Magic
the
and
Gathering.
toys.
Like, for my local comic book store, I know that Magic the Gathering keeps them afloat. So, it's funny because on one hand, you have the Marvel and DC universe putting out more films than ever, but on the other hand, like, comic books are like, brick and mortar stores are dying.
Yeah.
That is a fact. And they're trying to create new and innovative ways to keep their businesses afloat, which I really like. Like, a lot of them carry Magic the Gathering because it's just so stable, especially in the Seattle area. You know you're going to sell Magic.
Yeah. And My Little Pony comics.
Right. So it's kind of cool to see that. But yeah, there's like Comixology gives them a percentage, which I feel good about.
That's really neat. I had no idea. I was actually pitching to some people at Twitch yesterday that I think Comixology should allow you to buy comics with bits. Jackie Mac 04, thank you for that follow. Because it's like, look, it's all owned by the same company. Come on, like we got bits now and Amazon coins. Let's just make it one thing, and then come on. Because it'd be so cool to be able to like have bits in the chat and then be like, oh look, we're showing off this comic. It's on Comixology, and I know you guys are impulse buyers, so be like, oh, I got bits. Done.
Yeah, that would be cool. I would
Done.
really like that. I would really like that. That would be awesome. My local comic book store just opened 2 new stores in the past year. Well, there are outliers, and a lot of them have like really interesting business models where they can profit off of that. Like, you know, Comic Stop in the Seattle area, they have multiple chains, but in the same breath, I can name 3 that have closed down that I personally was a huge fan of. And so it's up to comic book stores to kind of like innovate. It's so weird because I've been saying it forever. I feel like the comic book bubble when it comes to movies is gonna burst.
Yeah,
I think people are already burnt out on it. Hey, Rage Killer. But I just feel like it's like people are already, it's so saturated than what it was. Like thinking about like when Iron Man first came out as the beginning of Marvel's cinematic plan and where it's come now.
Did Hastings shut its doors?
What?
Dude, that's what kept me, when I went to college, it was the only place I could buy comic books at college, was Hastings.
I've only been to one Hastings, but they're very cool.
Damn. Yeah, it was like a mix of like video store / Hot Topic, which, you know, whatever, but
yeah,
they'd have like the weird like dorm room supplies, comic books, movies. And, you know, when I was in college, like you survive off reselling and selling your video games and DVDs, but it was always great to go trade in some movies for some comic books. But damn, Hastings going down too. Fucking shit. Wow.
Well, bookstores in general, I feel like, are hurting. I remember having Borders everywhere when I was a kid, and now like Borders is gone. Barnes & Noble is still around, but there used to be 3 in my radius, and I was 1, and I'm like, how is Barnes & Noble like not doing well? Like, because the one in like U Village shut. They're like, yeah, the rent here is too high. I'm like, you're Barnes & Noble. Like, what the? How? It's happening.
Damn. All right, so let me get you guys a quick update on everything else that's going on in the channel today, just so you have an idea of what's going on, and then we'll get right back into the comic books and stuff. So as I said earlier, every 5 subscribers we do a Stinky giveaway, and if you're wondering why you might subscribe to Hyper RPG, it's because we do crazy content all day long, and it's not free to produce. We are working our asses off to bring you guys as much entertainment as absolutely possible, but our content is free and will always remain free for those who can't afford to support, to watch it whenever they want and however they want. So we put our stuff up on YouTube the day after, as quickly as we possibly can, and the content will always be free on Twitch. But if you want to support us, subscribing is a great way to do so, or bits or tips, and if you tip, it trolls us and we read it out, and you can make fun of me, and that's usually what happens. But coming up next on the channel, we have a special Bob Ross episode of watching paint dry. They're going to be watching the Bob Ross stream and trying to paint along with him and see how that works. I'm anxious to see how that goes down. And then we've got Shadowrun Corporate Sins tonight, and then after that, Honesty Hour with myself and AJ. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So you guys should stick around. It's going to be a full day of programming. And we've got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. We've got shirts on our Amazon merch store. We've got a Teespring campaign that you can just scroll down and check out. So that's pretty much it. You want to talk about some news?
Let's talk about news.
Let's talk about some news. We're going to get into the news, guys. Oh, and I just closed my windows right when I said, let's talk about news. Smart, Zach. Real smart. All right, get that back. Nope, that did not work.
Oh, that worked.
That worked. And back on it. There we go. First little bit of news is Image's Enormous is trying to get feature film representation and a VR experience.
What? A VR experience?
VR experience. Let's go into it. So it's developed for a multimedia adaptation experience. It's being developed for film with Chinese markets in mind, but other avenues like television, VR, or animation are being explored. The project comes from Hitman Agent 47 producer Adrian Esker. There's a lot of things being said in this that doesn't install me with much confidence.
Yeah.
It was partnered with Eva Cow, former head of international productions of Hawaii Brothers. The 2012 Image comic from creators Tim Daniel and Maddie Shugur takes place on Earth that's besieged by giant monsters. The graphic novel is published by Image's Shadowline imprint in 2012, and the project has been in the works since 2013. So it's been in the works for like 3 years now, and we haven't really heard. Again, a lot of things being said that I'm like, wait, okay, is this actually happening or just? So they've teamed up with Pure Imagination Studio to create a VR experience. Chinese audiences strongly respond to stories like the ones showcased in the Enormous comic books. By partnering with Hollywood creative talent, I'm confident we can turn Enormous into a film franchise with global appeal, but one which especially captures the sensibility and imagination of Chinese audiences, said Cow. So it looks like they're trying to create an American film that appeals to a Chinese audience. So.
It's just such a strange project with VR components.
I've never actually read Enormous. Did you get a chance to check it out back in the day? I have not. I have friends that liked it.
That was back before I really even knew what Image was. Yeah, I'm still new to Image. Yeah, I mean the concept looks really cool.
Yeah, the art's beautiful in the book.
I just don't know how it would translate to a film, and then.
Neostratic just resubbed with his Twitch Prime.
Oh, snap.
That's awesome.
You can do that, and you remembered to do that.
Yeah, and you remembered. Way to go. Good on you. Quick reminder to everyone, Twitch Prime does not auto-renew your subscription, so if you did subscribe to Harper RPG with Twitch Prime, you might check and see if you still have your sub badge. If not, you still have a free subscription. You just got to re-click the subscribe button. It'll still count towards your month's total, so you'll still get those loyalty badges when we put them out. But don't forget, because if you forget for too long, you lose that resubscribe streak.
You have like a little bit of like a window, like a courtesy window. Okay. Yeah, I don't understand the VR components because they keep saying VR components, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like a video game that goes alongside it?
Well,
like, how do you define virtual reality?
Joshua Wexler said, imagine looking up at a 60-foot tall monster that wants to eat you, and if you don't move, and I mean really get out of the way, you're toast. How awesome is that? And I'm like, like a video game. Like
that's not a movie.
You're right.
It's a video game.
But I think he's talking about the VR experience. So I think what they're probably trying to do is create a multifaceted marketing plan where they're telling someone who might give them money, especially if they're trying to make this for a Chinese audience. There's a lot of big players out there that will be like, boom, here's millions of dollars, make your full thing. And I feel like they're making this press release to say like, look at this. Like, we wouldn't just do a movie, we would do a VR game and this and that. It's all built into one to support the franchise. So it sounds like it's not actually happening yet.
Seems ambitious.
And they're just trying to get money.
Yeah, with VR, I always feel like the things that are less, I don't know. We're such babies in VR, you know? I just feel like all the projects that people are talking about are too ambitious.
Well, speaking of VR, I do want to, I just forgot this keyboard doesn't have page down on it. Oh no, how do I switch to next pages? No, that's not what I wanted to do! Computer just went black. What happened? No! What was that? What the fuck just happened? I didn't even know that was a button combination. I didn't know that was a button combination. Okay, we're back. Oh, but that screen's... No, oh no! God damn it. I fucked everything up. Guys, I fucked everything up.
Now it's like scary because it's like if you do it, is this one gonna flip again?
Yeah, probably.
Oh!
There we good. Okay, we're good. Okay, I just rotated the screens. Now I know that button combination. That's great.
I'm sure you'll want to do that someday.
Okay, now I'm trying to remember what the button combination is to go to the next tab.
You're playing
without
with
page
forces
down.
beyond your control.
I know, right? I'm right. Somebody should post it in the chat room. What's the button combination for next tab without using page down? Because that's what I usually use, but this keyboard doesn't have that button on it. So I know it's like control. Is it control tab? Ah, there we go. Control tab. There we go. All right. So speaking of VR, let's get over to.
Correction, PJL. It's not black hole. It's black hole. Because you don't say the H. You just bark it at people when you play Nightmare.
Oh, that's right. Nightmare. You guys had fun doing that.
Yeah, that's actually fun.
Yeah.
None of us got tired of saying, "You're banished to the black hole," because you hear it so many times.
Yep.
And it's funny because even when we switched villains, none of those villains said the H in the hole. They just say black hole.
Maggots. So I did find out when we hit 2,000 subs, I have to record my own Nightmare video for people and release on YouTube. So thanks for that, volunteering Zach when he's not here.
Like, better start perfecting your black hole. Like,
black hole, black hole, black hole. So speaking of VR, I can now finally tell you guys about this, even though I didn't get to be a part of it. So some of you guys may have seen on Facebook the Doctor Strange experience in VR.
Yeah.
That was being shared around. I actually got called to do this a couple weeks ago. They wanted me to do it because they'd seen our flash painting and they'd been watching our VR painting on the channel, and they asked me to do it. And it was right when I was getting on a plane to go to LA, and I already had a thing planned when I got back, and they needed it done within 3 days. They were gonna like fly a crew out, film us. I'd have to like cancel the channel for a couple days, only work on VR for like 3 days. And I was like, I want to, but I can't. And then when I saw the video, I was like, fuck, I should have been a part of this. Fuck. Because it looks really cool. But I was honored that they asked anyway, and I was one of their first choices. That made me feel good.
What if I told you the reality you know is one of many?
Pretty cool.
Through the mystic arts, we harness energy and shape reality.
I love this.
So I'm pretty sure they released the actual files for you to walk around in. So we might do that next Monday.
That would be cool.
So I'm gonna see Doctor Strange probably tomorrow night.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna see it. Yeah, I'm gonna see it as soon as it comes out. Big Doctor Strange
in
fan.
this vast multiverse.
So cool.
That is really awesome. Oh.
Hey, we got a sub!
Subscriber.
Carmel, thank you for that subscription! You rock! I'm way too tired to dance. Oh my god. It's
I'm always kind of mellow with it anyways.
Thank you for that subscription. We are now 4 away from our next Skin Key giveaway. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys that video. Pretty fucking cool. Get out of here, other video. Stop it. Stop it.
I'm so excited.
Get out of here.
Doctor Strange.
Yeah? You ready?
I'm
Are you
ready. I'm ready.
I really
I have high hopes for it. I have really high hopes for it. And I'm a big Doctor Strange fan. And so,
can't really complain, right? I mean, I've heard nothing but good things so far. The only thing I've heard that's like not necessarily negative, but slightly not positive was just people saying like, oh, it's a Marvel first film, so it's kind of what you expect from a Marvel.
I get an origin story.
Origin story.
Barely scratched the surface, ends, and it's kind of felt like it was a trailer. I'm ready for that. I still maintain that out of the first movies that came out, Iron Man was the only one that was like an actual movie, and the rest of them, when it really hit me, and even though I liked the movie Ant-Man, I was like, this is a trailer.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really go anywhere with it, and the way it ended was like, wait for the next one, you know? And it's like, a movie should never end where it's like, and you gotta watch the next one. I had that same gripe with Civil War. I'm like, it wasn't even really a complete movie. It was just kind of like, look at this cool stuff. Now wait for the next movie. And it's like, calm down. Calm your tits. Make a complete movie. But the Iron Man movie, in my opinion, ended on a note that wasn't like, this is just the beginning. It ended on a, this is a full story and we just told it. Yeah. And I kind of wish that other movies, like Thor, oh man, Thor was totally like, this is a setup for the Avengers. I'm like, stop ending movies where it feels like I didn't even watch a movie, I just watched a trailer.
Even Guardians of the Galaxy had that problem where it felt like
and I
it was
love
really
Guardians.
cool and original, but at the same time, it was more about what came next.
Just the way they ended it. Just the way they ended it, like, oh, you might be an alien, and you know, Thanos is still out there, and this was just a really long trailer, and it's like,
what can you do?
What can you
They're
do?
making a lot of money.
Even their showdown with Ronan was like very unimpressive. Their showdown with Nebula was more impressive than their showdown with Ronan.
Well, that's a problem all Marvel movies have, is their final
Not knowing how to
acts
make
are
villains.
Just, the Netflix series get it because they have more time to grow with them, and it's hard because these villains are all larger than life and they have to be packed into. And Kevin Feige came out once and said, like, it's purposeful. He was like, you know, we decided the hard route to take was we want to make stories about heroes in these films and focus on the heroes always to continue making movies about heroes. So, like, it was a conscious choice. Because I do feel like, if not, you end up in that Dark Knight situation where it's about the Joker. The movie's about the Joker. You know, and it's not, Batman's barely a footnote in that film, but yet with these Marvel movies, every one of them is just like, all right, it's about the hero, and the villains just kind of get thrown in the background.
I'm like worried for the Infinity gem or the Infinity Crisis, because it's like Thanos is such a villain to tackle, and in the first 3 glimpses we see of him is of him sitting in a chair. The first time was cute, where I was like, okay, just a quick there's Thanos, he's here, we're thinking about him, audience. But even now, they've barely developed that character. And he is like, ugh, that's such a big, he courts death. Like, this character is like, the cosmic Marvel stuff is, we were just talking about this, the cosmic Marvel stuff is my personal favorite stuff. Annihilation Wave, all that stuff. What is it, the War of Kings and the War of Gods? All that shit is my, I live for that. Thanos Imperative is probably my favorite graphic novel of all time. So it's really weird to I
think I got that in here.
It is amazing. If you haven't read it, you should read it.
Sorry, Malika just dropped off some of my comic book boxes the other day, and I'm like, cool, just leave those in here so they're always ready.
They're always ready.
I mean, we've got all those back there we've never explored, but
I know, right?
They're always ready.
We should do a random pick of the week of something old. That would be fun.
That would be. Or just a random here, let's talk about this
Thanks
book.
For the bits.
Oh, it's Annual Ant-Man, #1 from Nick Spencer, 2015. That was just last year.
Yeah.
Actually, that book's all new books from last year.
But it's going to be really difficult to try to explore Thanos because they haven't. Yet so far, we've barely talked about him. Agree with Infinity, going to be tough, I think. So many heroes and Thanos need all their moments to be on screen. Right, but with a lot of sometimes from watching all these movies together in a row, because I spent a couple weekends just watching all the MCU, one thing I realized is that's why I didn't like some of the movies is I actually didn't watch the spin-offs because I wasn't a huge fan of Thor, but I actually sat down and watched the Thor movies and watched all the spin-offs and realized, oh, if you watch those, that's kind of where they do all the character development, so that when you watch the mashups, that's where it happens. But with Thanos, you can't do that because you can't make a movie about just a villain. That's gonna be really hard to sell to people. So how are they gonna do that in a 2.5-hour movie? I don't know how they're gonna do it.
I really wish they would have done a Thanos standalone film.
They should have. They needed to. They really needed to.
To build up to, man, they would have made it so much better. Just one film of his origin story.
Because there's no way they can describe that in a film. We haven't had
a villain origin story movie.
We haven't.
That would be really fucking cool. Get on that, internet.
Yeah.
That would be so fucking cool.
And for Thanos, you need one. You really do.
I would love to see a movie take that spin. It's like Deadpool spinned a little bit on its head of this cliched origin story thing, but it'd be really fun to take that cliche and make it a villain origin story because they're very similar but also very different. And I think that would be a really cool thing to see how similar these situations come up, but one change makes them now universe-conquering villains.
And people keep describing him as like, oh, is this asshole in a chair who never stands up? And to me, it's like, if you understood like what he represents, you'd understand. People tremble at his name. Like Avengers tremble at his name. Like he is a superhero killer. Like he's crushed superheroes. Like they're nothing.
There's a puppy outside that door. I hear him.
Really?
I can hear a puppy's breath out there. Oh, there's a puppy. There's a puppy. Oh, he's in a mood.
What is this?
They're vegan
cookies. Look at that.
What the Malika went shopping.
Oh, I love these things.
Break into them.
These are delicious.
Which villains do you think they could pull off a standalone?
Darth Vader. Please.
But everyone's going to say, okay, people are going to say that we saw a Darth Vader origin story. It was the prequels. Someone else already said it. I'm just repeating what they said.
Read the freaking comic. I want to see Darth Vader between when his shit got all fucking burned and between where the trilogy picked up, the original trilogy. I want to see that Darth Vader because we know he's capable of some heinous fucking shit, and I want to fucking see it. But that's my logical choice. That's my choice of like a villain movie that would sell no matter what and break box office records. Darth Vader. People are gonna fucking watch that movie. Yeah. Any of the scum and villainy folks like Boba Fett and fucking Bosk and all those people, they could probably sell a movie. IG-88, they like having all of the bounty hunters, that could probably sell a movie. But Darth Vader for sure would break box office records. I know that in my heart. I know that. But like not being logical, I do think Thanos deserves his own movie. I
think Thanos does. The thing is, it probably wouldn't sell because people
wouldn't.
Nobody knows. And I do think with these big movies, their budgets are so large. It's kind of like, even though a lot of people didn't know who Iron Man was when the Iron Man movie came out. Well, okay, they didn't know Iron Man's story, but they knew who Iron Man was. Thanos is not a character. I mean, you guys remember at the end of the fucking Avengers, people were like, "Who's that dude?" Nobody knew who Thanos was. So many people leaving the theater were like, what was the purple guy?
Those of us who knew were like jumping up, like, oh, like fucking shit out! But everyone else was like, why is this chick next to me like fucking having a conniption right now? Yeah. It's like, hello? Like, have you not, like, come on.
I was so bummed because I just went through, when I saw Avengers 1, I did one of those like 12-hour movie screenings of like the whole day of Marvel, you know, the first round of movies leading up to Avengers. And so I was in there with super fucking nerds. And still, at the end, over half the theater went, what? Who? What?
I think if you're not into like the galactic side of Marvel, you probably don't have a huge grip on who Thanos is.
A lot of people
even
thought
if you've read like the Infinity Gauntlet, it's still like you really have to like read all the extra stuff to realize like exactly how much of a badass he is and how amazing he is, because he is so fucking cool.
You and I should just write that film. Let's just write the Thanos. I mean,
and
actually, Jason Aaron already kind of wrote it, I guess. That comic 2 years ago was pretty good.
Thanos Rising?
Yeah.
I loved it. It's like Dexter.
Yeah.
It's like literally like Dexter. And here's the weird part. Even though he's fucked up, there are places where you feel bad for him.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
But I think that's important. I think it's really important because it creates a character that's multifaceted. He's not just evil. He is fucking evil, but he's not just evil. There's a lot of things to his character that make him more interesting, which is why I think the Netflix shows work so well. Kingpin isn't just Kingpin. He's Wilson Fisk, and he's multi-layered, and he's in love with Vanessa. So his motives and his wants and wishes kind of make sense. And it makes him a fucking awesome villain. You're not just a throwaway character that you have to beat up on. He feels great. Gosh, just rewatching Daredevil season 2 and seeing that like scene with him and Punisher in the prison. Oh, fucking shit, it's so good.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. There's like, I think the other thing that bothers me about this is Marvel doesn't have the best villains. In my opinion, DC has some of the greater villains. But the ones we do have, I feel like, aren't explored enough. Because the villains that are, like Hulk written well is usually a villain. And so I'm scared because this is like my favorite Marvel villain, and I'm afraid because I'm sitting here like, I don't know how they're gonna do this. And even though it's 2 movies, I just don't see how they're gonna do this.
I would actually argue Marvel has some great villains, but they're all tied up in Spider-Man.
You're right.
Marvel's best villains are all Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, you're right.
He's got a great rogues gallery, and it's completely underutilized and underexplored. You go watch the old 90s cartoons, and that's the best like chance of getting to see all these crazy villains coming together to do really cool stuff. Or the new Spectacular Spider-Man that came out. Not new. Jesus Christ, that was 2008 now, wasn't it? Time flies too fast, guys.
Doom is awesome too, but he would, same thing, like, Doom would need his own movie.
Well, getting into Netflix, we'll use that as a segue.
There's always two camps though. There's people that think Doom is the best, and there's people that think Thanos is the best. And the Doom people are wrong, and the Thanos people are right.
I like both of them. Both of them are my favorite
I like
villains.
them both, but Thanos is my favorite.
Both of them are my favorite villains. I love Dr. Doom, and I loved him in Secret Wars as God Doom so
Everybody
much.
was like, oh, Bronze is going to hate the new Iron Man. I actually like Doom as Iron Man.
I did too! I did
But
too!
you didn't see that coming. I like Doom as Iron Man. I think he fits. Because Iron Man's an asshole, and Doom is like so highbrow. I love Doom. I love him. I'd marry him, especially now his face is not fucked up. You know, I actually have a picture.
The qualifying factor wasn't the fact that he's no longer murdering people. It's that his face isn't fucked up anymore. That's the determining factor.
At least
there.
I'm honest. You know what? Whatever, don't judge me. You can't kiss like a metal face. What do I do with that? There's a reason.
Dude, what happened to his face though? When are we gonna figure it out? Like, what happened to him?
They never tell us.
That's what I want to know. I want to know. And I also want to know if he remembers. I want to know if he remembers being God.
He does.
You think he does?
They totally like hint at it.
Yeah. They hint at it
hinted,
before
like-
Secret Wars.
They hint at like him kind of being aware of everything that's going on. Even in the current book, he's like, I don't know. Doom is weird. He never tells us what he's thinking. But he
He's
seems
just-
to know more than everybody else.
Yeah, he does. He does seem to know more than everyone else, but I haven't think they've outright said yet if he remembers being God.
Knowing would ruin it. I always wondered, like, if Doom is so powerful, why can't he fix his face? What? Like, he's got all this technology and he's so powerful, and I'd always wondered, like, but, like, why can't he fix?
I feel like I read a book once where they tried tackling that, and it was something to do with power. Like, it always came back to power, and like he could, but his disfigurement and position put him in a place of power or something.
That's
like that.
true. Having a big old metal face is pretty like intimidating.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to Netflix, Defenders has announced a couple supporting characters, and we all kind of saw this coming. Misty Knight's going to be in it. Karen Page is in it. Foggy Nelson is in it. Carrie-Anne Moss as Jerry Hogarth is going to be in it.
Oh,
The
she's
lawyer.
gonna be in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's now official representation of. And
She
isn't
has
she
such
supposed?
a weird character arc in Jessica Jones. I don't know if I like her or hate her still.
I think she's supposed to be in Iron Fist too. I think
Oh,
she
really?
has some sort of big presence in Iron Fist. And then also the one that surprised me the most is Malcolm from Jessica Jones is in it.
Oh, the druggie?
Yeah. I didn't see that one coming.
So basically all the sidekicks.
All the sidekicks will be there. Because we need someone to be in peril for the heroes to save.
Okay, just like full disclosure, I hated Foggy and Karen like for the first 5 episodes, and then Foggy grew on me and Karen never did.
Even season 2? Because I hated Foggy in season 1. I thought he was much better.
No, I
in
liked
season
Foggy,
2.
but Karen never grew on me.
Interesting. I like Karen a lot in season 2, especially when she took a lot of her own kind of like.
She always
became her
just
own
seemed
person.
foolish.
Really?
And then like part of it was like, okay, here's the other. I got a full disclosure. Watching her like break into the Punisher's house in like a pencil skirt and like 6-inch high heels, I was like, you're a fucking retard. Sorry,
All
hate
right.
speech. I shouldn't use that word. But I was just kind of like, come on. And she was like clanking around. She's like trying to be like secret, and she's walking around with like a flashlight, but you can like hear her heels on every single like wooden slat. And I'm like, at this point, if you're really gonna be like a detective, you think you dress for the job that you want. Like wear a pantsuit and like shoes. Pull a Misty Knight. Like what the hell are you wearing? And so that character just always made me cringe because then she'd get in trouble, and of course she's in her like pencil skirt, she can barely move in, and she always just seemed so useless. And I'd be like, well, if you didn't dress like a moron, maybe you could actually like run or be stealthy, but you can't because you're wearing freaking stilettos while you're breaking into the Punisher's house. You're so smart. except you're not, because you're freaking wearing stilettos while you're breaking into somebody's house. There's like scenes like that where I like start to like her. I'm like, nope, she's an idiot. Can't do it. Who does that? Nobody
Well,
wears. I'm gonna break into somebody's house. Let me wear like giant clanking heels. I go talk, 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 talk with every step I make. I was like cringing during the whole scene.
So funny. Never thought of that once until just now.
I think as a woman, I pick up on it where I'm
Yeah.
like, if I was gonna break into somebody's house, I would not wear a pencil skirt and heels.
I thought she was a badass for going there on her own. That's what I kept thinking. I liked that in the second season. She was very much kind of like the driver of her own truck in a way, whereas first season she relied way too much on Matt. And second season I liked that she was like, I got this shit. I'm doing this on my own. You know, like I'm my own person. Fuck this.
I always wear a pencil skirt and I don't. Karen Page is the one thing I really hate in Daredevil. I don't hate her. Just never grew on me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the presence of like such practical characters like the Night Nurse and Elektra. I was just kind of like. I was also kind of bitter that like she took the Night Nurse's boy a little bit. I was a little bitter about that.
But Night Nurse with Luke is a...
I know, but at the time the Luke Cage series wasn't out.
Okay.
And I felt like her and Matt belonged together. They were so cute. He goes out and gets beat up, and then he comes home and she stitches them back together. And I was like, oh, they're so cute together. I love it. And they had great chemistry. Oh, they had great chemistry.
I think she has great chemistry with everyone she's on screen.
Yeah,
with,
she
to
is.
be
She's
to-
just
to
a good
totally
actress.
Honest. She's
Let's
really
be-
great.
She's a great actress.
All right, so let's move on to the next piece of news. So this is one I'm...
What's this?
Mary Jane. Oh, nope, I'm on the wrong tab again. Let's go here. There we go. So Mary Jane is back in Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. Thank you for that. Lock Static, thank you for that follow.
Welcome.
Thank you for that follow. Well on our way to those 50 followers for the day to give away that Steam key. So, I think the article in question here on CBR.com, I think got a couple things wrong in here, but unless I'm totally wrong about this, but given... So they said that in the new Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, which anytime I hear about this book, at first I get really excited, because I think, is this going to be continuity? And then immediately I'm like, no, of course it's not going to be. And sure enough, it's not. It's an alternate universe. The Secret Wars book sold pretty well. Gumby Scout, thank you for that follow.
Welcome.
Secret Wars sold pretty well on Renew Your Vows, and in that version, in that universe, Regent was a big thing, and they was stealing people's superpowers. Mm-hmm. Regent just showed up in our current continuity line in a Miles Morales Spider-Man book, so I thought that maybe this was going to be canon, but it's not. But they say in this article that the whole family has spider powers, and I don't think that's true. I think given what Mary Jane's wearing, and that obviously looks like Regent tech, that they're all going to be superheroes, but her powers come from the suit. Mm-hmm. But their daughter does have superpowers, and she played a pretty big part in the little Secret Wars miniseries. So if you enjoy seeing Peter Parker and Mary Jane as a family, this will be a book for you to pick up. I haven't read it yet. It comes out next week, so I can't really pass judgment on whether or not it's going to hit those right buttons for me. They're super addictive. Every time we get a bag of those, I make myself sick by the end of the day.
They're like really good.
It's like start feeling tight in my chest from all the sugar.
Give
Can't
yourself
breathe.
a fucking sugar
Yeah,
rush.
yeah, really. It's being drawn by Margaret Savage, who did Bombshells and Scarlet Witch, was exciting. And
That's probably why it looks beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
You like
it's
the
gonna
style?
it's gonna be great. I like seeing this alternate universe book. I'll pick this up instead of the regular book for a while it's out, just to enjoy reading it.
Enjoy Spider-Man again.
Yeah, you know, and I might not like. I don't know how I feel about the whole family out super, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'll see what I think, and then I'll see if it's worth me picking up every week. But I do like universes where Peter Parker and Mary Jane are still together. Call me old-fashioned. I just enjoy it. We'll see how that works out. Ooh, that's a pretty cool image there. Oh, this art's great. I'm gonna open this one up for you guys too, so you can see there some more page art. I dig those colors.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. She's getting her powers from the suit for sure. I don't think she has spider powers. Sweet. Well, that's my little.
Oh, that's good. She has the metal underwear on under her pants. Because I was gonna say that's like I can't. I'm sorry. I can't do that anymore. Because you know, like that first scene, she had it on over her pants, and I was like, oh, please God, no. And it's like, okay, no, she puts her pants like that. Oh.
I bet that was a colorist mistake. I bet it's usually like that. What do you bet? It's usually a diaper.
Please, no, it's too bulky. It's not spandex, so it doesn't work with this outfit. I'm okay with underwear over the pants, spandex.
Oh, actually, it looks like she takes it off.
It's too bulky.
Actually, I think you might be in a position. It looks like her and her daughter are having a conversation, and then she takes off the bottom part.
I wouldn't blame her because it's like a diaper.
You can see here she's got all these different masks on the floor and paper
and
stuff.
She's probably trying things
so
on.
her and her daughter are making her suit for her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cute. That's a nice little moment. And I'm guessing the daughter says something about, you look like you're wearing a diaper, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
So
chastity belt with spider powers. Yeah, it's not a good look.
Not a good look. All right, next piece of news. We already watched that one. Oh, okay. I'm excited for this book. Yakuza Demon Killers, a new fantasy horror book from IDW. These covers got me really interested.
Yeah, no, I'm already like.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, tell me more. And then the page. Oh, god damn, I keep doing that. I gotta be on the right one. There we go. That page work, right? Super stoked for this book. So it's a creator-owned miniseries written by Emmett Chuan and illustrated by Ellie Powell and colored by K. Michael Russell. Emmett Chuan writes, at some point, most aspiring comic creators think, how the fuck do I break into comics? Unfortunately, there's no clear route, and creatives who have broken in can only share their personal experiences, hoping their tale of struggle and triumph can help inspire the aspiring. With that said, here is my story. In any profession, it's important to cultivate relationships and network. In 2015, I met Eli Powell at Mocha Fest in New York. Eli is a freelance artist who was tabling at the event. It was a chance meeting that would lead to a lasting friendship and ongoing professional collaboration. The best advice for an aspiring comic writer is to find an up-and-coming artist to team up with. Ideally, this would be someone who shares your taste in storytelling. After a few post-Mocha Fest meetings, Eli and I decided to start to work on Butcher, A Lesson in Criminality. So they did that one with Kickstarter, and it looks like this one's just being published directly by IDW. Soon afterwards, Eli and her won the 2015 Top Cow Talent Hunt, and it would get a one-shot, The 13th Artifact, which I heard about, but I have not got a chance to read yet. The story focused on astronauts' struggle to survive after being stranded on a hostile alien world. The Talent Hunt did exactly what it promised, granting a shot to fresh voices. I am grateful for Top Cow's Mark Silvestri and Matt Hawkins for that opportunity. Can I say, I met Matt, we interviewed Matt Hawkins last year.
Okay.
And you know how Top Cow has this reputation for scantily clad women kind of books, your Witchblades and stuff like that. He's really, really trying to reboot the brand. Like, he's really trying to reboot
And it's working, look at Eclipse.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point, yeah.
That's an Image Top Cow mashup, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Let me double check that. Yeah.
Yeah, Image Top Cow mashup, nice. So, Yakuza Demon Killers was a concept that she had been mulling over for a few years. Growing up, her VHS and DVD collection was an eclectic mixture of creature feature, crime noir, and Japanese horror imports. All these influences would come into play when scripting the first issue of Yakuza Demon Killers. It's set against the backdrop of modern-day Tokyo. A damaged thief named Ochita and her smug partner in crime, Rizzo, are planning the heist of a lifetime to steal an antique sword, but they will soon realize the sword isn't what it appears to be, and their plan will trap them in the middle of a secret war between the merciless Yakuza and a horde of demons. On board.
That's really cool.
I am on
I really like
board.
that demon design too. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Everything about that page. I was like, yep, I'm sold. It kind of has that like Sean Murphy feel. I dig it.
That looks good.
I'm down. I'm excited about that book. What do you guys think?
When is that dropping?
Let's see if there's a date in here.
Oh, see, that page is cool too.
Yeah, there's some cool pages in here. I better pull it up for everybody so they don't think we're just like, fuck you guys. Here's another page. Pretty dope. Alright. Let's see if there's a date. November.
Oh, so soon.
Yeah, very soon.
That's this month. Oh my god, we're already in November. That's okay.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We are.
No.
We are.
No, the year's not almost over. What are you talking about? Okay, so this next bit of news, I believe, is for Emily. I think somebody put it in there for Emily. Penny Dreadful is continuing in comics in 2017.
It already is out.
Is it out?
Yeah, there's a Penny Dreadful comic now that I've seen.
Well, this is apparently a new Penny Dreadful comic book series coming in 2017, coming 6 months after the television series finale.
Oh, so this one will
It's a
be
continuation,
continuing the story.
Kind of like they did with Buffy.
Yeah. They did that
keeping it
with
going.
Serenity too and stuff, right? Done with a few things. There's a Serenity comic.
Yeah. I know nothing about Penny Dreadful.
Really?
Nothing. I've heard good
That's
things.
really good.
I've heard good things.
It's really good. Like, I love Penny Dreadful. There's only 3 seasons, but holy crap, it's amazing. It's really dark. Like, dark in the real way. Not like American Horror Story, we're trying to be edgy, but like dark in the way that's like, oh my god. And just to give you a brief synopsis, it follows a group of adventures. It's so classic in how it deals with things. You have like basically a vampire hunter, basically a werewolf who's like an amazing shot. He's like a gunslinger.
Okay.
And like who I like to call a witch. She's kind of a witch. She can like read tarot cards and she has some like clairvoyant ability, but you're not sure how she's doing what she's doing, and that becomes apparent as the story goes on. So you've got like very much, and one of the characters is literally like a very dapper British gentleman with like a curly mustache, and like he's like a retired like explorer. Like he goes and finds mountains and names them. Like that's his living.
He finds mountains and names them?
Yeah, like he discovers mountains and then names the freaking mountain.
Really cool job.
It is.
I want to live in a time where I could just walk up and mom be like, yo, what's up, mountain? Your name is.
That's what he does. That's what he does. He's like an expeditionary guy, and that's what he does. So that's basically the story in a nutshell. I'm not gonna tell you where it goes from there because that's the best part of the journey is finding out. But like
I better say spoilers really quick because I want to read what they put out for the brief of the comic. So if you're watching the show right now, maybe put your little thingies right here.
Because this comic we're about to read is
when I give you 2 thumbs up, that means we're done talking about it. So earplugs, everybody.
And I have the spoiler thing up too.
Perfect. Ethan Chandler finds himself unable to move on as he searches desperately for meaning in a world without Vanessa. I'm guessing that's the spoiler.
Yeah.
Ancient words echo across the centuries, and he is called on once again to take up arms against the creatures crawling out of the night. Okay, you're good. You're good. You can come back now. You can come back. So Vanessa. No, just kidding. I don't know anything about it. But thank you for that follow, Kronos789. That's one of those shows I imagine someday I'm gonna have like a sick day and I'll
It's
just
amazing.
watch all of them.
I watched it randomly when I was like, I have nothing else to watch. I think I'll watch this. And then I ended up binge watching all 3 seasons because it's so good. But I actually like the dark and macabre. So to have like a Dr. Frankenstein and to have like his creature and to have all these characters, like basically all the original Penny Dreadfuls. Penny Dreadful was a comic that you could buy for a penny and it chronicled horrible things, and I love it. I fucking love it. I love a show that has vampires and stuff like that isn't like a soap opera like True Blood or something like that. So it has like all these weird mythical
Okay, now
creatures.
you got me. Now I'm on board.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
True
it's
Blood, I
not
couldn't stand it.
dramatic.
When people say like vampires and stuff, I'm like,
No, it's good. It's
Okay.
different. It's good, and I highly recommend you don't watch it with your mom.
Oh, is there lots of boobies and stuff? And
Not
doing it?
in that way. It's just fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
Weird?
And you don't want to watch it with
Like
your mom.
LSD orgies weird?
No, everything they do, like I'm saying, everything they do is like dark and twisted. So it's never like a Game of Thrones, like, oh, we're in a brothel. It's just like you're not gonna jack off to anything you see in the show.
That's the qualifier right there.
Like you might see boobs, but you're not gonna be aroused by usually what you see. It's usually like, oh, what are they doing?
Those aren't the boobs I was looking for.
At least that was like, that was like my reaction. I was like, what's going on?
I feel like there's a story here. How did you and your mom react when you watched the show together?
No, I didn't watch it with my
Okay.
mom, but it was one of those where like, you know, your significant other walks in the room, it's like, what the fuck? And you're like, don't judge me. This is like 2 seconds of the whole episode.
So she said, Green Eyed Trombone says she's on episode 7, and one of my only comments is, there's a lot of sex.
Yeah, there is, but it's, some of it's normal, but most of it's like,
I think you're making a lot of assumptions on the
On
how
that?
the internet.
oh, what they can masturbate
Well, all right,
to.
moving on to the next story.
Sorry.
Moving on. So Brian Michael Bendis just put out a crime noir omnibus, a compendium of classic character-driven drama written and drawn by the king of crime, Brian Michael Bendis. I don't know if I'd call him the king of crime anymore. Maybe 15 years ago, but I feel like
Can you take
Ed
away someone's
Brubaker-
crown?
I feel like Brubaker took it away himself.
Yeah.
I think Brubaker was like, yo, remember the crime noir novels that I put out consecutively for the last 10 years? That's my king. That's my hat now. I did that.
Can there be more than one king?
Maybe. Do you know Brubaker's working on Westworld too?
Really?
Yeah.
I really need to watch Westworld. Too many people are talking about it, and maybe I just need to watch it.
It's pretty good.
Maybe I just need to watch it.
It's interesting.
You grew to like Dr. Frankenstein? Love Dr. Frankenstein. He's my type, skinny, nerdy guy.
It says here, what brings David Goldfish, an enigmatic grifter with the heart of gold, back to his old haunts, where his old flame practically runs the city's underbelly and his ex-partner in crime is now a police detective? Who is the bounty hunter Jinx Alameda? And what treasure is she hunting? How will she get drawn into Elliot Ness's real-life pursuit of one of America's most notorious serial killers? So basically, these old crime noir books that Bendis used to put out, like I have the Jinx omnibus at home as just kind of like my ode to Bendis back in the day. It was really interesting at the time. When Bendis first came into comic books, he was writing these crime thrillers that just like Bendis style, text on text on text. And the art was taking photos and manipulating them in Photoshop to be like black and white, Sin City kind of style, Frank Miller like style.
Okay.
Because he would admit he wasn't an artist, and they just wanted to get these books out and make comics, and that was his like break into that world. So this is bringing together a lot of that early work. Some of it has never been released before. He said it was stuff he found that was never put out. So including stories he did with Warren Ellis, James Hudnall, and Owing. He found a small pile of good stuff, has not seen print or a lot of print, including some screenplay work with some of these characters I think you'd really enjoy. So if you're a Brian Michael Bendis fan, I feel like this is like a nice behind the scenes look into his early work. Oh, this next story, I love this. Valiant promotes Josh Johns, Director of Development and Digital Media. And just so you guys know, Josh here is our main contact, who I talk on the phone to most of the time and get a lot of our stuff done. And I love that I know that the company that wrote this article got the exact same press blast that I did. And instead of using the nice picture they sent out with the press blast of him in a suit in front of the Valiant wall trying to look really dapper, they put this as their main image in the article of him from Comic-Con. I love knowing that he's probably like, God damn it. But Josh is a really cool dude. He got promoted to official director of digital media there. So he'll be working with us a lot in 2017.
Rats.
So congratulations, Josh. And let's go. Next news story, which is pretty exciting. R.L. Stine is now
I read this, yeah.
writing a Marvel comic book. What do you think about that?
I'm excited. I think he brings a childlike sort of, I don't know, a childlike weirdness to books that I would actually be excited to read them.
I didn't know that he was 73 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he's 73 now. I'm anxious to see what kind of voice he'll bring to comic books.
Yeah, actually. Because I'm basing this off of like Goosebumps.
Right? Which was now 20 years ago.
Oh my god, that's 20 years ago.
He was like 50. It says lived another 54 years from being 70. He's still old.
I mean, yeah, 50's still old, but there's still this like, okay, so there's been a couple guys recently in their 70s tried to write comic books. And at first it's kind of like cute. And then you're like, wow, there's like a tone and a flow to modern comics that's a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah.
Like the speed at which the dialogue comes out, like when you read, oh my gosh, my brain just went blank. I'm so sorry. The X-Men writer, Claremont? Chris Claremont. His like current run of X-Men books, like they sound like they belong 20 to 30 years ago. And at first you're kind of like, oh cool, Nightcrawler, the way he used to sound like Nightcrawler when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then after a couple books you're like, I want modern writing.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Because it's different. Some of that classic writing feels really good. Like for me, it might sound kind of mean Faith feels that way. I feel like Faith is a comic that is like, the way its tone and the way it's written is almost like so classic. I'm like, this is what kind of we were doing in the 90s.
Right.
But I like that. Like it's not a bad thing. I don't hold it against it. And even like, I don't know, sometimes I like that. Sometimes I like that different style. but I think that ends up with the reader.
Well, we know nothing about it. He says he's writing a series of comic books for Marvel. It's his first comic ever, and he's not allowed to talk about it. So, who knows?
I'm kind of excited, though.
Who knows? I wonder if it'll end up being kind of like, you know how they did their Stephen King run of Dark Tower books?
Ooh, that was good, though.
It was really fucking good. I wonder if they might be doing something with like a property he's already made and adapting it, or if it's going to be an original creator content kind of thing. I have no idea. We can only speculate at this point.
Yeah.
We can only speculate.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds interesting.
Okay. Megaloblazemon asks, if I could get my hands on any property and do a run, what would it be? I'm not a writer. Someone else would have to write that shit for me. I could plot something with someone, but I'm not a writer. Different world, and I respect the people that do it well.
If I could get my hands on a property and do a run, what would it be? Eyes glaze over. No, see, because the ones I want to do, I don't feel like I could do justice to.
Right? Isn't that always how it is? It's like, I would be my worst critic if I tried to write Spider-Man. Like, I'd probably read what I wrote and be like, you suck at this. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're the worst Spider-Man writer ever.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Because the things I would care to redo are things that are really close to my heart, and I feel like I'd ruin them. So, never mind. The Thanos movie. Just give us the Thanos movie.
Yeah.
We'll write that.
I can do that. I understand Thanos at a deep level. Spider-Man I want to understand, and I like to picture myself as that, but deep down
And writing
I
a
know I
screenplay
understand
is different
Thanos
than
better.
writing a comic book.
Way different.
So, yeah, just give us Thanos the movie, and we'll make it.
Let's do it. All right, let's talk about comic books. Let's do it. Let's get into the week of comic books. We'll start off by talking about the books we did read, and we'll break them down, and then we'll get into the other books that are coming out and talk about them. So, right off the bat, let's talk about Faith. Because
yeah, let's do it. Because that's kind of news
it's
and
in
a
the
single.
news, exactly. Let's pull it up here. Faith, number 5. Interesting. So, well, right off the bat, what'd you think?
Well, this comic is divided into 2 parts, and therefore my feelings are divided into 2 parts.
Very true.
I liked the main story that ran in it. I thought it. But then again, like, here's the thing with Faith. Here's why I go back and forth. There's like issues of Faith where I'm like, okay, it was fine. And there's issues that I really like, but it's never, it's not consistent. Because the thing with Faith is sometimes I feel like they just play it really safe. And I wish that they didn't always do that. But there's times where it's just like, okay. And like the tone of the comic too, it's always really safe, which is nice because they can never really truly fuck it up. But like, especially after that last issue with her at Comic-Con with Archer and fighting a mirror version of herself, like de-escalating from that and coming to this, I was a little disappointed. But I still liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was weird to have the book divided into... I thought it was really interesting. I had to reread the statement because I was like, whoa. Like, it's one thing for her to be super pop culture in this book.
Yeah.
It was another for her to actually actively promote another comic lines comic book.
Which one?
Wiccan Divine number 13.
Oh yeah, she did that. If they read that, then
if
they
people
could.
had
They
read
should be.
Wick Div number 13,
Yeah.
they wouldn't be so quick to like. Or she was
Yeah.
talking about haters on the internet.
Yeah, and they should be required to read that before posting comics.
And for those
Or
that
comments.
don't know, Wicked and Divine number 13 was a great single issue about a character who is sexually harassed and bullied through the media and critics and online people and ends up committing suicide at the end. And it's a really interesting single issue, but I thought it was neat that in this book, Jody Houser is pretty much just like, yo, Wicked Divine number 13 though, you should check that out. Which I don't know if I've ever seen like
Yeah.
that cross, like this exists in a world that's so current that Wicked and Divine is being published by Image Comics within it.
But I feel like it was almost a good move because she references so much other pop culture. It would be weird if she didn't read
Exactly.
comics, you know?
Exactly.
Right? Like, she talks so much about wanting to be a superhero and stuff like that. It would be weird if Valiant was like, well, no other superheroes exist other than the Valiant superhero. So I'm actually like, round of applause for them for being not insecure and being able to reference other comic books in their comic, because I think they realize like referencing that comic isn't going to hurt their sales, right?
Yeah.
If anything, it might make some of the readers be like, "What's that? I kind of want to check that out."
Well,
you know?
yeah, right. It probably would. Which is another.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because we already know, like, Valiant, especially in the Faith comic, isn't shy about pushing their agenda a little bit.
Which, on that note, the second half of the book was the Hillary Clinton part. Which, when you talk about how this feels like a 90s book at times, that's the part of it that feels like a 90s book to me that I'm like, I don't miss this part of the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't miss this kind of fan service. Like,
yeah.
it is so straight up late 90s, early 2000s, like special edition,
agree, yeah.
bargain bin.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I didn't like it for multiple reasons. One, it just had a weird tone.
Dude, it was really, so they're simultaneously through the imagery promoting Hillary and through the words trying really, really hard not to outright say vote for Hillary.
But they are. Like, they're saying,
through her
like,
actions.
Yeah, they're basically saying, like, oh, like, there was one line where I'm like, okay, like,
about being a hero, about
Yeah.
her, like, I know what you're talking about, like, doing the right thing is never a mistake, and it
Yeah.
talks about, like, how she's always trying to do the right thing and land on 2 feet and all that stuff.
So it's basically like giving Hillary a platform almost, and saying, like, yeah, she's made mistakes, but that doesn't mean that she's not the right choice, and
Right.
she's not the right candidate, and your vote is power, so you need to go vote. And they don't, like, at that point, it's not, at no point do they tell you, like, vote for the candidate you believe in. They're just saying vote.
No, but they do. That's why I
Where?
almost would have liked it better if they were constantly just saying, all right, we support Hillary, fuck it. But the tone was so weird because the text boxes were always
yeah,
a different
fair
tone.
enough.
The text boxes were always saying stuff
That's
like...
why we have to listen to what candidates say and watch what they do and how they do it. That would
and then
be
it goes on
endorsing
and
both.
we want to live in the kind of world we want to live in. Vote it's basically all the text boxes are saying, like, everyone's good people. There's good people on both sides. Just make sure you go out and vote.
Yeah, and the comic started that way, definitely, where you
Mm-hmm.
have, like, someone who's wearing a Second Amendment shirt and another person who's wearing a gun control shirt, and they're fighting each other, and then one person from each camp, like, breaks the fight up. And Faith says, like, oh, there's good people on both sides. So I was like, okay, they're playing it safe, and they're doing this more of as a rock the vote type of comic.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of like, no, it's definitely a Hillary comic, which I kind of gave my thoughts about that last week, where it's like, I just feel like you run the risk, and I don't want to get too much into it because last week it turned into, like, a political debate, and I don't want to start talking about that. But you do run the risk of, like, alienating, like,
Half your audience.
Half your audience. And that's not just a money thing, it's also just like as a reader, you know, like, I feel that way about comics that are overtly, like, Christian or something like that, or preach Christian values. Sometimes I feel very
Or
disenfranchised. Yeah, or if they're anti-Christian, same thing. I'm sure that.
Agreed.
Yeah, so it's like, if I can't resonate, like, for a long time, that's why I don't like things that are moral that way, like, you know, like, oh, we can't have gay marriage because it's in the Bible. And I'm like, well, I don't read that, so you need to give me a better reason than that. So just for the same reasons I was, like, very pro-gay marriage, it's the same thing with my comic books. It's like, when you do that, you just run the risk of, like, alienating nerds who just want to read comics and aren't necessarily bad people.
Well, I think for me, I will always support artists using their platform to say what they need to say. What I think is different is pop culture using a platform, because pop culture to me fits a different need in a different void. It's
Yeah.
entertainment. It's not, it's still art in its own right, but I think it's weird when it starts crossing into that line of agenda because of the power it holds. Whereas art itself has power, but it's letting you know it's art and it's an opinionated piece. Pop culture, I think sometimes when it's getting into that place, comes off as a state of, like, this is fact. This is the way it is. Not opinionated, it's fact.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think that's why it's weird when it's in a comic book, you know, because it's just, I support artists using their platforms to say what they need to say, but it's weird when it's coming from such a, like, calculated spot. It's so calculated. Every word and everything is such a, like, very specific choice to say a certain thing without saying too much. And I always think about, as an entertainer, going back to what Michael Jordan said years ago in that interview about, at the time he was, like, one of he was selling Fruit of the Looms as, like, his primary source of income as a spokesman for that. And somebody was trying to get him to say on a show, are you voting Democrat or Republican? And he's like, hey, do Democrats and Republicans both buy underwear? And they're like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
like, as an entertainer, like, I'm selling a product, and once you make that product this or that, it's kind of a weird place. It's a really weird place. So I'm on the fence too. I honestly, I was trying to reserve judgment. If the book was really good, I was gonna be like, fuck yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it
But I
wasn't
was like,
very
meh.
good. Yeah.
Nah.
It would have been better if they had come from a place, like a moral place, like this is why, you know, instead of saying Hillary's great and she's trying her best. I wish they'd almost said like this is why we support Hillary and why we think you should, because that would have been, like you said, a better, like if you're gonna do it, go all the way.
Right. It wouldn't have felt as corporate. It wouldn't have felt as mauled over and obsessed. It would have felt more like an artist saying something rather than playing it safe. But okay, I won them all. And as just a comic, the first half of the book, it was divided in 2 books. The political part, which is on the cover.
Kind of.
3 stories.
It's weird.
The first part starts a new storyline with an interesting character that looks like it's throwing back a lot of Sailor Moon references. So we'll see where that leads.
Yeah.
I do agree. I didn't feel like it had the proper amount of time to set up since the book was kind of shoehorned in a bunch of other stories. All right, what next should we talk about?
Did you read Eclipse?
I did not read Eclipse, but I'd love to talk about it.
I love Eclipse. This is one of my favorite books right now. Fan art contest. Submit your original fan art for a chance to have it featured in Eclipse #4, and you win a $100 Amazon gift card and signed copies of Eclipse 1 through 4.
That's
If I
cool.
could do art, I would be doing that. I just feel like, chat, I feel like there's a lot of you accomplished artists in chat, so you should, if you're also reading this book, maybe think about it.
So
Contest.
Eclipse.
Why
Let's
not?
find Eclipse here. Boom.
Boom. Okay, so for those of you who haven't following this comic, it's awesome. The premise is basically a solar flare occurs and it kills a lot of people on the planet Earth. Basically roasts them alive.
Burns them.
Right now the sun is basically so powerful that you can't go outside during the daytime. So people come out at night and they live in sort of underground cities during the day. And in the midst of all this, you have sort of an underlying story of like different corporate companies and them pushing their agendas, and almost like there's that weird political thing going on in the background. But then you also have this weird murder mystery where there's a serial killer on the loose that is dragging people into the sun during the middle of the day and killing them and burning them alive in a horrible fashion.
Making it really hard probably to track them and figure out who's doing it.
So it's very strange because they don't have a lot to go on. I'm going to try not to spoil any of the big reveals they did in this book. The big reveal they did in the last book is that this killer, who is featured on the cover, can walk around without the use of one of these crazy, they call them icemen, and they have these basic giant astronaut suits, and these icemen can go out in the sun, and they are the people who are designated to go out in the sun and do repairs on different things to make sure that everyone inside these underground cities is safe. And the serial killer, they get a glimpse of him, walks around without one of these Iceman suits, and it's weird because they don't know how to take that. So in this book, we find out why that's a big deal, because they kind of ended on that cliffhanger last time. We find out a little bit more about this killer's potential motivations, and we find out a little bit more about sort of like how these supposedly random killings are connected. So this is a really good book. Number 3 is always, I always say like read the first 3. Number 3 really has me sold on the series now because I really want to know how this all shakes out. This and Hadrian's Wall are like my favorite, like sort of space.
And both of those, I've only read the first issues and love both of them and need
yeah?
to catch the fuck up.
Yeah.
I gotta catch up.
And this is like an Image Top Cow like mashup
Nice.
book. It's like a collaboration book, and I just really like it. Everything I've picked up from Image in like the last year has been so good.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on our picks of the week, just because I realize we are running out of time since we're gonna be doing that special special one tonight. So my pick of the week is Southern Bastards, which, if anyone knew that book was coming out, is not gonna be surprised by that. Thank you for that follow, Rolligar771. Thank you for that. Very much appreciate it. Welcome to Hyper RPG, and thank you guys for tuning in today. Like I said, make sure you stick around. We have all sorts of fun stuff planned for you throughout the day. Today at 3 p.m., Malika and Viking Lass are going to be wearing Bob Ross wigs and trying to paint along with Bob Ross. So we'll see how that goes. Is this not in the system?
Should though, right? It's pretty popular.
Come on now.
book.
Don't. Okay, there we go. There's my shit. Southern Bastards, number 15, new story arc called Gut Check. I have been waiting for this moment since the end of Volume 1. Oh man. So Roberta, Tub's daughter, is in town, and it's even better that she's half black, half white, because like so much of this book is built around racial tension, and this is an unapologetic, no bullshit, no pulled punches look at Southern life in a small town where football is king. And I cannot get enough. Every time an issue of this book comes out, I drop everything, I read it immediately, and I'm just like, oh, it's so good. The art, the storytelling, the paneling, the long burn of some of these characters and their slow turn away from the crown of being the biggest thing. I mean, the first volume will blow you the fuck away. If you haven't read volume 1 yet, pick it up, and you will be hooked, because they build it up and then slam it down your fucking throat. And every volume ends in just the most, way. And we're starting to see Coach Boss's world crumble around him, and Roberta is in the house, and he doesn't know who she is at all. So she's just like hanging out in his barbecue place, waiting for the right time. She's carrying around a bag of assault rifles with her, and you're just like, oh fuck, shit's gonna get real. The black girl's about to shoot this place up, and it's exciting. It's a really good book. You guys should check it out. That's my pick of the week, and will probably always be as long as it's coming out. So, as long as this book is on the stands.
It's like me and Snot Girl. I have like an unhealthy obsession with that.
Right?
Book.
Oh
Every week, Snot Girl number 3. My pick of the week this week is Champions number 2.
Champions number 2.
I love this book. I love this book. It's like, so good.
Tell us why, because I'm on the fence about it. How would you sell it to me?
So, I'm a big fan of Kamala Khan. Everybody knows that. It already sets the tone that she's kind of the leader of the champions, that I know I'm gonna love it. But here's the thing. This comics like brings out my inner child. Like the way they talk to each other, the way they like they're like a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed approach to just everything that's gonna happen, and their childlike humor in it. It's really, really what just like sells it to me. So like, oh, that's the cliffhanger. Yeah. There's an underrunning current in that throughout the book. So, and I just love it. The last panel, I know it ends on a cliffhanger. It breaks my heart for poor Kid Nova. That's why my heart breaks. It's for poor Kid Nova right there.
Also, there's relationship drama up in here.
Yeah, just like Kid Nova. But this is what I loved about the Kamala Khan comic as well. Like her sort of struggle with like, I kind of like Bruno, but he's kind of my friend, and I don't know if I could ever be in a relationship with him. And this one has just so many jokes that made me like giggle and laugh and just have a really, really good time with it. It is like Marvel's Teen Titans, but it's like, in my opinion, it's better than Teen Titans, because these these characters have been fleshed out so well, you know, because they've all had their own comics and they've all had their humor is so great. So like, there's actually a scene here that freaking cracks me up.
You're selling me on it.
So they're trying to experiment what all their different powers can do, and they ask like, hey, you know, Amadeus Cho, how high can you jump? And they jump, so it just shows them standing for 4 panels, like watching him jump. But at the end of it, Kamala Khan says, finally, a break from the stench of testosterone and body spray. So Amadeus Cho is kind of like the type A personality here, and because of that, he rubs them the wrong way in a lot of places.
I love that Amadeus Cho has turned into a type A personality.
He kind of is. He's just kind of like strong, and he's like, yeah, 8th smartest person in the universe, you know, I'm a freaking Hulk. And they're all just kind of like, well, I'm cool too, and you know, and the way they like talk to each other, I love it so much. It made me giggle in so many different places. And oh, my favorite part of it was actually, I'm gonna steal this from you for a second. My favorite part of it is a moment where Kamala Khan, you know, like that whole concept of little girls being bossy, she just took that and like cracked its neck. And it did it in not a way that's like ham-fisted, because Kamala Khan has kind of taken like control of this group. She feels responsible for it. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about why this entire issue happens while they're camping out in the woods. And they're asking like, okay, why the hell are we out here? And she's like, because we need to be a team. We have to be a team. We have to know how to work with each other. We have to get to know each other. We need to know each other's powers and how we can create super sick combos. And she uses that exact phrasing.
So how much of this are you going to take as inspiration for how we should start communicating on Vanquished?
Well, they go camping and they actually take the time to understand each other's motivations, which our team is very bad at. But during this entire thing,
thank you LP
for
man.
The follow.
Thank you for that.
At one point, Kamala Khan says, okay, there's two parts that made me like, oh. One of them is like, they figure out while Viv, that's Vision's daughter, is talking about her powers, that she's also basically a mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. And they're like, what? What's your password? And she's like, even androids can cry. And without even responding, they all punch it in their phones. And I'm like, oh, you are like the Vanquished crew. Like, I was just kind of sitting there like, oh, Viv.
So we need to have a camping episode. You guys would have to all be forced to talk about your motivations, which would be really uncomfortable for everyone.
And then after they get their Wi-Fis and stuff, Kamala's like, oh, I have some exercises for us to do. And immediately Miles is kind of like, God damn it. And Kamala immediately is like, you're not going to make the woman the spoil sport like she is in every single movie. I'm not here to make you do anything or to keep you from doing what you want. I want us to have adventures in crazy, beautiful places we never imagined, lost cities, hidden dimensions. Do you want that? And everyone just kind of like shuts up and falls into line, because so often that is what it is. It's like you have like the woman who's like, well, you need to do this. And the guys are like, oh, fine, I guess we got to do this, you know? And she was just like, no, you're not going to paint me to be that person. And you're not going to paint me to be the spoil sport, because we all want the same thing and I'm going to help us get there. And it's this awesome moment where like Miles is literally like, you should just be Captain America. And Viv is like, yes. And Viv, being as analytical as she is, Kamala's like, what? And she's like, well, we already have 2 Captain Americas simultaneously existing. Why not 3? So like that's the
logical conclusion.
Yeah, that's like the whole tone of the comic, and Scott Summers joining them, and they actually talk about like Scott Summers and how he could potentially be evil. Yeah. But here's the greatest part of this. They say, because I was like about to like clench my fists, and they're like, but isn't that the reason we left the Avengers? Because all they talk about is the future and the fate. And if we didn't agree with that agenda, how can we judge Scott Summers while he's still a kid? And I was like, yes! Little kids with a good, strong moral compass.
Cool.
Because if they were to reject Scott Summers based on the fact that he ends up being a really bad guy, are they really that different from the Avengers that they quit? They're not. So they...
Now, what you're reminding me right now is how much I miss Mark Waid's writing.
It's so good.
When he was on Daredevil, it blew my mind, and
it's so good.
I'm a big.
I love Champions. I know I'm biased because I love all these characters. Like I like Kid Nova. I love Miles Morales and Kamala Khan. They're my 2 favorites. I like Kid Nova too, though. Amadeus Cho, I actually read his run as well. Viv, I actually don't know that much about, but the more I learn, the more I like
you haven't
her.
read the Vision book yet?
No, is it good?
Well, it just ended. You can pick it all up now.
Is Kid Nova in it?
No, but
because he seems like he really likes Viv.
No, he's not in it, but you should pick up that book.
Okay.
It's one of the best runs of the last year.
Okay.
It just ended last week.
I'm gonna pick it up.
Just ended last week,
I'm gonna pick it up then.
Really fucking good.
But man, the last scene, because you know that Kid Nova likes Viv, and I'm like,
That's
a little high
drama,
school, but I'm okay with it. Hey, it's good. It's good drama.
All right, and for those that don't know what we're talking about when we mention Vanquished, because we do have some new people in here watching, which if you are new and you're checking us out for the first time, wave hello so we can say hi back. Let us know you're in the chat room, and this community loves to welcome new people and get you guys talking, and we're all friends here. We're all part of the same Thumper family. So, for those that might not know, Vanquished is a show on Monday nights that Bronze is on and IGM, and we have a team of superheroes that exist within the Valiant comic book universe, and we do stuff. And the next episode of Vanquished on Monday night at 6 p.m. will be the final chapter of Volume 3. Our final chapter in Volume 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was supposed to be last week on Halloween, but I've been feeling pretty rough lately, so we had to... There's no way I would have had the energy to do it. There's just no way. So I wanted to make sure that the final issue of Volume 3 gets all the attention it needs before we wave into the next one. So it will be next Monday. So you guys should definitely tune in for that. Monday at 6 p.m. Now, as far as any other like honorable mentions from this week, I want to say Unworthy Thor #1. So much fun. It reminds me of why Jason Aaron, when he's writing Thor at its best, it's really, really good. He gets it. It's fun. It's huge. It's epic. It's bombastic, and it deals a lot with like, you know, these. He captures this Thor's own insecurities really, really well and handles them well. And that's probably my like runner-up for this week. I also got to do something that I'm going to rub in you guys' face a little bit. I sent it to you too, but I read Harbinger's #1.
Oh, right.
Harbinger Renegades Not Harbinger. Yeah, it's Harbinger Renegades, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I read that. Comes out, I think, next week. Holy shit. It's great.
Is it great?
It's fun. It's going to be really good. They set it up really well. It's a great entry point for Valiant fans or non-Valiant fans who want to figure out what Toyo Harada's all about, what Harbinger's all about, what Psyops are all about. They set it up really well. They get you in quick. They do a really great, like, quick, like, here's who they are, here's what happened, and very quickly throw you into the action. And we got a new storyline with new characters and them trying to come and bring the team back together to face these threats that are their fault that exist. Because at the end of Harbinger, when they sent out the PSYOP papers, now all these people are being targeted because of them.
Right.
And they're having to, like, stand up for what they did. And it's really great. I'm excited about that book a lot. It was really good. And
Nice.
it might have been my pick of the week if it was actually coming out this week. Did you have any other honorable mentions?
Moon Knight. Just want to talk about that one again.
Moon Knight?
Moon Knight's so good. I love this. It's been 8 months I've been reading this. And I read the last run too, and I love this book. It's so cool. Still don't know if he's crazy or not. But at the end of this issue, it ends in a way that I think in the next issue we're definitely gonna find out. I personally put my money on crazy.
Yeah, probably crazy.
Probably crazy. But
Probably
I want to
crazy.
know which reality is the real one. So this comic shifts between 3 different art styles and 3 different protagonists, and it shifts between them rapidly. So like one scene, he thinks he's being interrogated by a cop. The next he blinks his eyes and opens them, and he's on a movie set, and he's filming a scene where he is being interrogated by a cop. And he closes his eyes and opens his eyes, and he's back in the interrogation room, and he's like, oh my fucking god, what the hell is happening? Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's real anymore. And you as the reader are like, I don't know what's real anymore.
No idea.
I have no idea. And it's great. Because the art, you flip a page and the art style changes, and he's like, I'm on a movie set. What the fuck just happened? Where am I? And then you flip a page and he's back, and you're like, I don't know if he's awake or if he's sleeping. And it's amazing. Amazing. I love it. I love Moon Knight. Like, he's so underrated. He's so cool. Moon Knight and Nighthawk are like the 2 most underrated like Marvel superheroes who are so cool.
Do you ever play Marvel Heroes
Yes.
online?
Yeah,
Moon Knight's,
like
my
is that
favorite
like
character in
the Diablo style
Yeah,
thing?
created by the guys who made Diablo. Yeah, I love that game, and Moon Knight is like my level 60
Oh, really?
powerhouse in that. Oh yeah.
Who was
go nuts
mine?
with
Psylocke, oddly enough.
Really?
Oddly enough.
I haven't played that in a while. They keep
haven't
releasing
either.
new characters. There's
We
so
should probably
many.
like stream that. I bet you there's enough of
There
us that
are.
probably
Now
play
that
it. We could
now that I
probably
brought
do
it up,
raids.
they're gonna start talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we used to play it a lot together, and I just haven't had time in a long time to play. It can get pretty grindy, so you've got to have the right people playing it together to
Yeah.
make it fun. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
you're just sitting there. Click,
Yeah.
Click, click,
Well,
click, click,
Diablo's like that too,
Yeah. Yeah.
though. Yeah.
All right. 1v1 you. I will lose.
I would probably lose too. I
I
haven't
will
played it in a long
fucking
time.
lose. When
don't
I
know.
play that game, I get into that like glazed over mode, and I'm just like, this is really cool. I'm fighting as a superhero.
Have they added Miss Marvel yet?
Oh yeah,
Okay. See, like that's how out of the loop I am.
Kamalka. Yeah.
So that would probably be my main now.
Yeah, there's all sorts of great characters in there now, and lots of sidekick characters too. They're really fun. So
I remember
Marvel's
liking Squirrel
2016
Girl
day.
too.
You should have logged in for the Halloween event. Tons of EXP in Midtown. See, Bob's Pal. I should have. I miss it. I need to get back into it. It'd be fun. I got you into Marvel Heroes way back when, and right now I have 6 or 7 level 60s. Wow. Oh, Kamala's only a sidekick yet right now. Oh, I know they have plans for her.
She should be a main.
Not playable yet, but she's a team-up character.
I know in the mobile game you can play like she's a character in the mobile. Have you played the mobile game at all?
Champion, well, that's what I thought that book was like, because it had a similar logo and everything.
Yeah.
Future
yeah.
Fight or whatever.
I actually kind of like the mobile game.
You just swipe it and clicking.
It's like grindy, but I'm not that into it.
Mm-hmm.
I've messed around with it because like some people I know are super into it, but it's pretty cool.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Aren't We Clever. You're at
Bronze Girl Games.
Bronze Girl Games. Let us know what comic books you are reading.
I don't make games, I play them though.
And make sure when you pick up books, like tweet them to us at hyper_RPG as well. Like show us what you're picking up and what you're checking out. We love to know. We love to keep that conversation running. And you can always talk about comic books in our Discord if you're a subscriber. So let's keep the conversation going, even though we're offline. Let's keep talking comic books, and we will talk to you guys soon. Stick around for watching Paint Dry Bob Ross edition.
Bob Ross edition, don't want to miss that.
Don't.
Paint
Stick
a happy
around.
little tree.
Bye.